Hi guys, Mons here. On this episode of Bally Mons, we're looking at the Premier League Game Week 30 prediction and also risky pick alert. Just before I get started, if you haven't subscribed to my channel so far, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed, thank you very much. So let me just get started. My risky pick alert record so far is 16 and 13. Like I said, they don't call me Mr. Recoup for nothing. And West Ham got me a fantastic result there. Last game week 29 against Fulham when West Ham away. Fantastic result. They don't call me Mr. Recoup for nothing. So I told you guys I was going to come back, and of course I did. So my format for this one is normally the list of fixtures. I give my prediction, and then I go to the rationale for giving my prediction. So I'm just going to run through the fixtures really quickly here. So we have Burnley versus Bournemouth. I'm going for Bournemouth in this one. We have Sunderland versus Brighton. I'm going for Sunderland in this one. We have Arsenal versus Everton. That was a big turn. I nearly picked Everton as my risky pick alert, but I'm going to stick with Arsenal on this one. We have Chelsea versus Newcastle. I'm going for Chelsea in this one. Risky pick alert, risky pick alert. My risky pick alert for this week is for West Ham to beat Manchester City. Palace versus Leeds. I'm going for Palace in this one. Manchester United versus Aston Villa. I'm going for Manchester United in this one, of course. And then Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. I'm going for Nottingham Forest in this one. Liverpool versus Spurs. I'm going for Liverpool in this one. And finally, Brentford versus Wolves. I'm going for Brentford in this one. So let me just give you my rationale in terms of my picks. We have Burnley versus Bournemouth. Burnley have been doing well in the last couple of weeks. They've been playing much better. However, for me, it's a little too late for them. And Bournemouth, we have the draw specialist, and they have 4 draws and 1 win in the last 5 games. You can take that as a negative or a positive. Negative is if you turn one of them draws into loss and turn the other draw into win, you get more points. However, you can see as they've been undefeated in the last 5 games. For me, I'm going for Bournemouth in this one to win. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. It's going to be an entertaining game. So I'm Sunderland versus Brighton. I'm going for Sunderland in this one. Stadium of Light, I don't expect anything less from Sunderland. I expect them to make a hell for Brighton. Brighton are a team that are up and down. You don't know what you're going to get from them on a weekly basis. So I'm going for Sunderland this one, in my opinion. And can Sunderland make a push to finish, solidify their top 10 finish this season? I think they can as well. For me, like I said, I was so close to picking Everton as my risky pick alert. They have the best 4th away record in the league this year. They'll be so much better away than they are at home, in my opinion. And obviously, that's something to do psychologically with a new stadium as well. I think as time goes on, they'll get used to the new stadium. Obviously, they missed Goodison Park, but I'm rocking with Arsenal this one. Arsenal had a tough game against Bayer Leverkusen midweek in the Champions League. However, they have to get back to the Premier League, make sure they can keep their Premier League run going, because I think for them, I think the league is probably the most important thing for an Arsenal fan getting over the line as well, especially Mikel Arteta, and I'm rocking with Arsenal this weekend. Excuse me. And then we're looking at Chelsea versus Newcastle. Chelsea had a very, very disappointing loss to PSG in the midweek in the Champions League. For me, they were very unlucky. I actually picked Chelsea to win that game because I didn't fancy PSG. PSG they've been very, very, they have been great this season. And I thought Liam Rosenior was going to go there and be brave. For me, Liam Rosenior coached a 2-2 game away at PSG, but the players, the airheads, and the goalkeeper making mistakes, that's what cost Chelsea. You had a game, even 3-2 loss wasn't too bad, but then you lose a game 5-2. That's a blow to them, in my opinion. That's a blow to their psyche, in my opinion. However, they need to switch their mind now to the Premier League, and I think this weekend's a huge one. Newcastle, I don't think they have anything to play for in the Premier League anymore, but they're going to put out a decent team. They had a very, very impressive draw against Barcelona in midweek, and they're going to be on high. But I think Newcastle are going to change the team around a good bit because they're going to focus on Barcelona next Wednesday as well. So I think this is a win this has to be a win for Chelsea to push them to finish top 4, top 5, in my opinion. Risky pick alert. My risky pick alert for this week is for West Ham to beat Manchester City. For me, Manchester City suffered a heavy defeat against Real Madrid. The 3-0, it could have been 4, and it could even be more. I couldn't believe Manchester didn't score a goal against Real Madrid, especially how Real Madrid has played this season. I don't know. I just think Pep is done after this season. I think he's done after this season, in my opinion. And I think West Ham, for them, every game now is a cup final. Like I said, every game now is a cup final. And I think Manchester City are going to way too focused on the Champions League, trying to get back the 3-0 deficit. And I think West Ham are going to catch them. And I think West Ham are going to beat them. And that's my risky pick alert for this week. I think my guy Nuno has something special for Pep this weekend. So we have Crystal Palace versus Leeds. I think Leeds are pretty much safe, and I think so Crystal Palace, in my opinion. They had a huge win against Spurs in last game week. They hit the misery in Spurs. I was so happy to see Spurs lose and see some of their fans absolutely in tears. Leeds are the third worst away team. So for me, I see this as a Crystal Palace win. It has to be a Crystal Palace win. Push them further away from the relegation zone. And of course, Manchester United versus Aston Villa. Poor result last day for Manchester United against Newcastle, especially when Newcastle down to 10 men. I think just had to go for the winner. You had to be more adventurous, and I felt the players kind of bottled it, and I felt Michael Carrick should have made better substitution. However, that's gone. Let's focus on what's now, and we're looking at the Aston Villa, a team. Aston Villa have been going through a downward spiral so far. I think this is a great chance to be Aston Villa. This is a fantastic chance to be Aston Villa for us to push again to finish third and in Champions League position where I think we deserve this season. It's going to be very tough. I think Ahmad needs to start. I think Ahmad needs to start this game. I don't think Sesco is going to start this game because, or maybe Mbeumo, but Mbeumo has been fantastic. You kind of look at that and you see Aston Villa. We're going to try to. I know we're home, but I feel like Aston Villa will be a team that kind of push up on us. I'm going to hit them on the counter, and I think that's when Mbeumo, Konya, and Ahmad are much more potent. And I think that's why Sesco is going to be dropped. Unfortunately, my guy Big Benjamin. Not how big a fan of Big Benjamin, but I feel like he's going to be dropped this weekend. But I'm expecting a win for Manchester United this weekend, in my opinion. Nottingham Forest, they had a great draw against Manchester City. Morgan Gibbs-White, like I said a couple of weeks ago, the only reason Nottingham Forest in this position because Morgan Gibbs-White have been poor for like 3/4 of the season, but now he's picking it up and surprise, they've been hitting better heights in the Premier League and they've been pushing up. And I think they're gonna escape the relegation zone if Morgan Gibbs-White keep playing the way he is. I love seeing him the late run into the box and then Igor Jesus dropping out and then setting them up. That's fantastic to see, and I'm hoping to see that again this weekend. And I think Forest are going to be Fulham. Fulham have been very good this season, especially the last couple of weeks, but. I think Forest are going to be way too determined because their Premier League campaign, their Premier League status is on the line. Fulham really have not to play for, so I think Forest are going to win. And I also think Fulham are struggling with injuries as well, in my opinion. I think Fulham are struggling with injuries as well, in my opinion. So that's pretty much it for that game. And then we have Liverpool versus Spurs, and I think this is going to be a one-sided game. I don't care what anyone says because Spurs were absolutely shocking in midweek against Atletico Madrid. For me, I think Liverpool have a chance here to run up the score on Spurs, and I would love to see Spurs go down. I really, really hope Spurs go down this Premier League season. I love to see West Ham stay up, Nottingham Forest stay up, and then I hope Spurs get dragged down into the last relegation place. Honestly, I've been praying for this for so long because some of their fans, they've been so arrogant the last couple of years, especially when they won the Europa League final against Manchester United. I know a couple of Spurs fans, but I'm not going to call out their name, especially a guy called Monday Night Man. He knows who he is when he hears this. And I can't wait to see him in tears. I hope he's not dodging my texts or my DMs when Spurs lose and I get relegated. So the last game is Brentford. Brentford game. I think Brentford versus Wolves. I think Brentford are going to win this one. This is G-Tech Arena. Although Wolves have been playing really, really well, I just see Brentford pushing up. And can Brentford legitimately get one of the European places? I think that's possible for my guy Quito, especially with a new contract. I would love to see him finish in one of the European places. For me, he's been one of the managers of the season, especially the way he's handled all the pressure that came with managing Brentford, losing his best players, and not replacing them adequately on paper. But they've been fantastic so far this season. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much if you made it to the end of my video. Also, make sure to drop your prediction below in the comment section. I do appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Peace out.